Are you going to cover the Chinese AI being more efficient or something? I don't know about. I saw that and I don't even know what to say about it. Like, the devil tech from China might be more efficient. I don't even know what that means. What do we mean more efficient? Like it posts misinformation faster? I don't understand. It's open source, which is important, but I hate all of it. It uses less GPU power by 50 times, but I hate it. I don't want it. It means that American companies won't achieve monopoly, but I hate it. It may be awful, but it makes Silicon Valley mad, so that's a silver lining. Well, I guess I do like Silicon Valley being mad. I guess I'm pretty happy about that. Demand source from that chatter that said it's open source. That's an insane claim. I saw people on Twitter saying it's open source. Is it not open source? I mean, we're going to read an article, I guess. A Chinese artificial intelligence company has Silicon Valley marveling at how its programmers nearly match American rivals despite using inferior chips. Nearly matched. I thought it was like 50 times better or something. It is open source? 50% as efficient, nearly as good? 50 times, not percent? Okay. Competes tasks with a comparable proficiency to OpenAI's O1 at a fraction of the cost. Claims it built it for just $5.58 million, a fraction of the time and cost required by its Silicon Valley competitors. I'm not going to lie, and this might come across... So my position against AI has largely been a moral and sociology-driven one, not a technology-driven one, because that's not my field of study. I'm going to take a step further into my criticisms and just sound like an insane person for a bit, maybe. I don't think any of this is real. When Silicon Valley says that they want $500 billion to build AI, what I assume that means is $500 billion in military contracts being diverted towards, shareholders. And meanwhile, somebody's like hitting a computer with a hammer. I don't believe in any of this. I don't think it's real. Like, basically every big Silicon Valley tech boom over the past few decades has been completely made up. From the dot-com bubble and onward. You get, like, real technological developments which are made in practical science labs. You have like R&D teams that do that shit. But apart from that, everything I think is just fake. It's just fake, like investor speculative bubble hype bullshit. It's not real outside of that. It exists entirely to wow people. It's just horse shit. I don't believe it. It's fake. It's gay. I don't believe in it. So when they say China did a much better version for 5.58 million, all I get from this is that the Silicon Valley guys were making gibbering noises with their mouth and sitting on their thumbs this whole time. I don't think they were doing anything real. I just don't. Why would I trust the least trustworthy people on Earth? The only thing that these tech oligarchs seem to actually want is being a god king. You saw that Sam Altman clip of OpenAI fame, where he was like, the social contract might need to be, reinvented because of AI. Is that this guy just wants to be a god? He's just a sociopath. He's megalomaniacal. I don't think he knows very much about tech. People credit Elon for being a tech genius. He doesn't know anything about tech. He just buys companies. So who here knows tech? I will be convinced this is real when I get a step-by-step breakdown from one of these tech oligarchs explaining how any of this works. I mean it. I want them to go to a computer and sit down and be like, okay, so here's some stuff I do. And I want to watch it, and if it passes my sniff test, then I'll think it's real. And until that, I don't think it's real. I think that we've been sitting on our thumbs and China just did something and it's like, oh, it's better because we were actually doing it. I don't know how we're supposed to compete in the real world like this. Like, the actual industrial constructive capabilities of China vastly exceed the United States. The fact that we have more money is largely due to the fact that more money swims around in speculation here. But in terms of like what's actually made, what we produce, and all of our children are retards. They're all retarded. Nobody knows how to write or whatever. All the school shooter manifestos look like they were written by a deranged 4-year-old. So like, where are we going with this? Everyone's illiterate. The average American is like a 6th grade reading level. I think if I went to China, I bet you the average student over there is way the more literate in Chinese, like relatively speaking, than the average American student. Our education system is astonishingly bad in outcome. And ChatGPT, yeah, now everyone's just doing their essays with, large language models. It's insane. Why is our education so bad though? Because once the economy in America, so at first the American economy was agrarian, then it became industrial. We wanted people to be able to read because people who could read and do arithmetic made for better factory workers, secretaries. They made for better administrators. It was easier to have everyone be taught basic skills than it was for the company to teach those people basic skills in order to hire them. And they needed more people than just the ones who already would have been given an education, like noblemen or whatever. You want people who can read but weren't born to a wealthy family, because those people won't be doing the jobs that require you to read, you know? But over time, that went to like industrial society, American workers in factories. You go through World War II, and then eventually you have the Rust Belt, the death of American manufacturing. We move into a service economy. But now 95% of the wealth in America is just retard VCs in puffer vests jerking themselves off while circling money around the drain. There's like $1 trillion in the real American economy and 50 trillion of fake bubble money that dipshits play around with. Like 80 IQ dipshits are just like bouncing around, like trying to keep the balloon from hitting the ground, So in this environment, why give anyone an education? Who the cares? The real economy is up there, and it's totally fake. Like, it used to be your economy was heavily dependent on having people with the skills necessary to run like a factory or whatever but nowadays, nah. So like, who cares? And America's kind of been at the forefront of this development. It's happening everywhere in the world, that's the developed world. But in America, we are the most like fake economy, basically. Kids in schools understand this intuitively, and it's a big reason why they don't care now. Yeah. And they're not wrong. I mean, it still makes them stupid, but they're not wrong in that, It used to be if you were good at math or good at speaking, good at selling something, that could mean something. As recently as your parents' generation, if you go through school and you're good at math and you're pretty good at like talking and, pitching an idea, you could be a good salesman, and you could sell yourself to a company off of being good at being a salesman. You could be like, yeah, and here's my skill set. I'll show you. You go up to the business and you're like, hey, take a look at me. I'm pretty good at it. Nowadays, this isn't real. Nothing's real. None of it's real. So like, who cares? So anyway, I don't know. China made a better devil machine. China has improved in our torment nexus, precisely. Chinese AI startups are currently valued at a fraction of US companies such as OpenAI, which was recently valued at 157 billion. This is what I mean, man. It's all like totally fake. What do you say? 157 billion what? Show me the 157 billion dollars in your factory. Fake. It's all fake. Show me the $157 billion of gold, silver, and precious gems that you have in a room somewhere. And if you can't, it's fake. Because financiers are unsure about their ability to monetize their advances. That's crazy, man. Yeah, we've developed something and we don't know how to make money with it. Please, venture capitalists, give me infinite money. Give me infinite money. Is that how you think company valuations work? It would if I ran Wall Street, absolutely. Oh, Tesla's worth $50 bajillion. How many cars have you made? Oh, less than everyone else? Toyota, Ford? Okay. $5. $5. I'll buy it for $6. It's a 20% markup. It's bananas that Tesla has a 120 to 1 price to earnings ratio. Yeah, literally. Because again, like, none of the actual economy is in what the thing produces. No one gives a we have enough wealth in the world to give everyone an upper middle class life at this point. Like, unironically, we could. It would take some time, but the amount of like productive efficiency in the way the resources we have, how we use them, we could easily do it. It would take some decades, but we could do it. Everyone on Earth, a higher class life than most of you enjoy. I guarantee it. But now it's not like that's not the way forward. The way forward isn't actually like doing that stuff. The way forward is just trading VC capital around. Fake economy. Marx would have, this shit would have Marx quaking on the floor. In that one SpongeBob episode with Squidward, future, that'd be Marx for like 6 days after you brought him back. Because in Marx's time, it's like, oh, the capitalists are the people who own the factories, and the wealth of the capitalist is derived from the surplus value that is stolen from the worker. And now it's like, no, Marx, you don't understand. Actually, all you have to do is convince the world's least intelligent, most gullible men that your new technology, which they don't understand how it works, will change things at some point in the future. Then they give you more money than the combined value of the United States at the time that you were alive. Marx wrote about finance capital. I know I'm being a little bit Joshy Josh here, but finance capital back in 1880 was nothing compared to finance capital today. Not even, not 1880, 1860 or 70. Nothing compared to today. Back then, it was like, it was still tied to real production in a lot of cases. Nowadays, fuck, it's insane. We're a service economy anyway. Yeah, but a service is still like a value, you know? At least a service is something. Can you explain to me why you hate AI so much? No, I'll black out if I do. You can, however, go back and watch any video I've ever done on the subject. You've probably got like 60 to 80 hours of me yelling at chat over it. It's basically like the maddest I ever get. Finance capital is the only thing that can grow indefinitely, which is why it's the only thing people invest in anymore. Yep, it needs to be made illegal. It's actually the only way to save the planet. I'm not trying to do the facetious like infinite growth, whatever. It's literally just true. We're looking at like a set of cycles where it's like this literally cannot continue. It's not even about ending capitalism. It like finance capital has to go first. That's like step one is that. Like it would be better to roll the world back economically 150 years, not like slavery and stuff, but in terms of like relation to the means of production, than it would be to roll it forward 50. Like on the current trends, going back to you patronize your local store, that store owner has the money that they circle around, it goes to the plumber, it goes to the whatever, the electric, whatever, like all that, it keeps in most of the wealth that is generated or even stolen as surplus value from workers is in a coherent form. That, for all of its problems, almost certainly better than what we're getting into. Go back to manufacturing economy. Look, I'm not defending the economy 150 years ago. I just don't think people understand how apocalyptic what we're heading towards is. Also, that hoarded dollar does not get spent on the plumber who spends it on their food, who pays the grocer. One of the best metrics that you can get for the health of a society, it's not like PPI or like GDP per capita or any bullshit like that. Gay, lame numbers. Okay, the real shit is how much does money circulate? How often does any given dollar in the economy move around and change hands? And the more stagnant an economy is, the worse off it gets. Right now in America, today, I'm telling you, money sits flat. The vast majority of it is in offshore accounts where the tax man can't touch it, or it sits in bank accounts, or it's just like somebody just sits on their shares, and the share might go up and down, but they're just holding it either way. That is the biggest metric. It used to be overwhelmingly the vast majority of money circulating in the economy. Circulated in the economy. It moved around and wasn't just held in speculative dragon hoards worth more than the value of the entire country. You're describing GDP. GDP is the amount of money spent in a country. No. If you think GDP and the velocity of money are the same thing, you should just Google the concepts. I'm not an economist. I don't pretend to be. But the GDP is, the reason GDP is calculated the way it is so that we can look at the line going up in blighted countries like the United States and think it represents economic growth when all it represents is VC dipshits circulating investments and jerking themselves off. Like so much of the GDP now is just bubble shit, fake vibes bullshit on top of the economy that has like nothing to do with the actual mobility of wealth in the country. You are absolutely wrong about AI. Okay, if I'm wrong about AI, if AI is God, as you claim it is, let it strike me down now before you get permit. You think I'm doing this shit anymore? You think I'm tolerating it? I'm not going to debate with you on whether or not crashing into icebergs at 60 knots is bad when the Titanic's already sinking and we're both on a listing deck, okay? You. I have already, as far as I'm concerned, the argument on whether or not ice can cut metal was won as soon as our death was assured. Okay, now I just want to live out the remainder of my life in peace.